In this video, I'd like to overview fruits. Fruits are really the matured ovaries of flowers that contain the reproductive seeds of the plant. They could be fresh, they could be cooked, dried, canned, or juiced. Fruits are divided into 8 basic categories listed here for you, and we'll cover each of them extensively. We have berries. Pictured are blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries here. Citrus, which includes your grapefruit, lemons, limes, oranges, and tangerines. You have several different melons pictured here. As well as continuing on, we have our palms. These would be your apples, pears, and your quince. You have your stone fruits, such as your apricots, cherries, nectarines, peaches, and plums. And then your tropical fruits are pictured here as well. We also have grapes and exotics that we'll cover in the following categories. To start with our berries. Berries are really small, juicy, aggregate fruits, which mean fruits that grow in small clusters on vines or bushes. They're thin-skinned and have tiny seeds. Really a lot of tiny seeds. If you make a coulis with strawberries or blackberries, you'll be skimming out and straining out seeds for hours. There are a lot of different varieties here. Strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries. You'll see it continues on. They could be eaten plain or definitely cooked and added into other items such as jams and compotes. Cranberries and blueberries are native to North America, which you'll see and hear a couple times this week. Citrus. Citrus are classified then by having thick rinds with that bitter white pit. That is that white layer underneath the outer layer, which we call the zest. It's definitely segmented flesh and very, very juicy, and they can range from being extremely bitter, like a grapefruit, to being tart or even sweet like a clementine or tangerine. Navel oranges, then, are a variety of seedless orange. Moving on to the exotics. Exotic fruits are becoming increasingly popular as we're importing more and more each day. Different varieties of exotics are the pepino melon here, which goes for about $5 each at Giant. The guava. Here we have our mangosteen and our persimmon in the middle. We have our pomegranate, which is around a couple months out of the year. You could get these arils or the seeds by themselves as well as pomegranate juice. This is a picture here of the lychee and the rambutan. You have 2 types of dragon fruit here. They're these tiny little black edible seeds within either pink flesh or white flesh. This is a horned melon. This is, quite frankly, I think a waste of your money in that it's $5. And it is truly these slimy, green, slimy seeds inside. It really has a sour taste and is pretty neutral. Then you have your rhubarb here, which looks like red celery, but it's not even related, and most times is cooked down with some strawberries in a lot of different pies. Here you have your gooseberries, and then your figs at the end, growing on the trees, dried and then fresh. And then right here is your starfruit or your carambola. Moving on to grapes. Grapes are the single largest fruit crop in the world. Do you know why? Some of you might have guessed because of all the wine production. Perhaps you read it on the sheet right in front of you. Grape juice, though, also contributes to this, but the second largest contributor is actually raisins, which are dried green Thompson seedless grapes. You'll notice on the box, every box of raisins on the front, you'll see green grapes and then dried as what we see as raisins. They naturally turn this dark purple color by the sun. Those that are considered white raisins then are gone through more of a chemical process to keep them from turning colors. Here you can see some different wine grapes growing right on the vine. Here are some champagne grapes, as well as this is our Concord grapes, and here are more of our table grapes that we're used to seeing. They come in seedless varieties, both black, green, and red. Melons are members of the gourd family, and they're separated into 2 categories, sweet melons and watermelons. All melons, though, are generally about 90% water, and they rarely are cooked. They're great in a sorbet or a chilled fruit soup. Melons should be allowed to ripen fully on the vine, but they will ripen a little bit further afterwards. And there's a lot of different varieties, most commonly your cantaloupe, your honeydew, and your watermelon. Your palms then, these are fruits, tree fruits specifically. They have a thin skin, and the flesh really centers around a pocket of these tiny little seeds. So apples, pears, and your quince, which is used for its pectin, for thickening different jams and jellies. So as far as the palms go, your apples and your pears are definitely the most common. There's so many varieties of apples, specifically in Pennsylvania alone. There's probably over 100. My favorite is the Pink Lady here. It is nice and crisp, it's juicy, it has a great flavor but not overly sweet. I find they last a long time, and they're just a very consistently great apple. For cooking, poaching my pears, I like to use the Bosc pear. Generally, I'll get them while they're still hard, because as pears ripen, you generally have a day or two to eat them before they're over-ripened. Speaking of which, ripening happens by the ethylene gas. Ethylene gas, then, causes the ripening as well as over-ripening of your products. Fruit products, specifically. Stone fruits, then, are those fruits that, again, will grow on shrubs or trees. They have a thin skin and a soft flesh, but it's around one solid pit or one solid seed, like an apricot or a peach or a nectarine. Going down to our tropical fruits, these are going to be found in the tropical or subtropical regions of the world, so they're readily available to us. Here, bananas, we get bananas all the time. Again, readily available. Pineapples. We actually grow a ton of pineapples in Hawaii, so right within the United States. Here you have your passion fruit, your mango, these are your plantains and your kiwi, your papaya, and then these are going to be some dried dates here for us. Fruits are divided into these 8 categories so that we can help to remember them as well as their common characteristics that you'll find in purchasing them, as well as their nutrition and their cooking forms. Now that we've identified the fruits and learned about the classifications, let's dig in a little deeper before we watch a video on how to actually cut all of these fruits. Seasonal availability. Pennsylvania is huge for growing agricultural products. I encourage you to check this site here at PA Preferred to see what is locally available. Unfortunately, right now, there's not a whole lot that is locally available at this time of year, but within the next month or two, we'll start to have a lot of our late spring and early summer products starting to come out. There's also a lot of guides, such as this Lancaster PA Harvest Guide, that will give you insight as to when the pick your own strawberry season is coming or other different events that are coming up here. In regards to nutrition, fruits definitely have a high water content, as well as producing fructose, which is a natural sugar found in fruits. They're low in protein, fat, and calories, and they're a good source of fiber, as well as many other vitamins and minerals. Remember our phytochemicals that I talked about with our vegetables. They apply with our fruits as well, and fruits can be categorized both by color as well as their classifications or families as to the amount and different types of nutrients that they provide. Vitamin C, you can see, is large in citrus, melons, and strawberries, and vitamin A in all deep yellow, orange, and green fruits. Potassium then is high in bananas, raisins, and figs. In purchasing fruits can be shipped ripe or unripe. They're shipped unripe so that they're not damaged throughout the packaging. As long as they can be further ripened, that's perfectly fine. But those fruits that should be picked at their fullest ripening potential, because they won't continue to ripen, such as strawberries, need to be picked when they are ripe and then packaged accordingly. So that's where you'll find your fresh berries that are extremely fragile be packed in half pints or pints, quarts. They're actually dry weights. So you'll notice here I've listed that a quart is actually weighing in as 16 ounces and a pint as 8 ounces. Fruits are graded through a voluntary process. Most fruits, if they're given a U.S. number 1, are going to be used and sold as fresh fruit. If they are damaged or bruised or any appearance-wise, deformity, they'll then go to a lower grade and most likely be used in different jams and jellies and other cooking methods. It's important to store your fruit properly. Refrigerating your berries and your grapes and ripe melons and is appropriate, but when you're talking about bananas or melons again that are underripe, things that should sit out to ripen fully and then be refrigerated. Items like bananas and a lot of exotic fruits and tropical fruits should not be refrigerated, as it'll turn their skins a dark color and actually stop the sugar from enhancing there. In preparing fruits, an important concept is the idea of oxidation, or this enzymatic browning. The idea that when air hits them, they start to turn brown. So yes, you can soak them in lemon juice or water that has a little lemon juice, even vinegar I've heard of, but it really takes away the flavor of your apple. You're expecting your apple to be sweet and instead it tastes like lemon. So a trick that I threw in here for you is to use Sprite. It's a lemon lime soda, and it really does a great job of keeping the air from coming into contact with it and causing it to be brown. Your apples definitely do this. Some pears will do this. The star fruit or the carambola is another one that will oxidize very quickly. I've included here some different terms about cooking fruits. Fruits can be used, again, in a lot of different cooking methods here, and I have some of these terms defined. Jams, jellies, preserves, marmalades. A la Normandy is really any term that's added to a title of a dish, meaning that there's apples cooked in it. Poaching fruit specifically, infusing the flavor as well as softening them, is a fruit compote, a fruit coulis, and then macerated, which basically refers to soaking the fruit in some type of liqueur or strong flavored liquid to really marinate those flavors together. You don't need to incorporate flavors in there with other ingredients. It can be the way that you cook something. Notice this picture at the top here. These are grilled peach halves, and then it has prosciutto wrapped up with a fresh basil leaf, and it looks like some balsamic glaze on there. That sounds great. Here's a picture of the poached pear. You can see how an entire pear coming out. It does look like it's softened. It looks like it picked up some color. This would be more of a white color going into it. I leave you then with what I feel is a really awesome video on how to slice every fruit. It's a little lengthy of a video, but again, very valuable and worthwhile to being able to see all the fruits as well as how to properly cut and prepare them. Thank you.